Good evening. This is Rahul Magan here as a Group Chief Executive Officer, Treasury Consulting, and also a venture capitalist. As we speak, Treasury Consulting is a multinational headquartered group based out Singapore. Operationally, we are a hedge fund. By hedge fund, we take positions in US, Europe, and Asia. Apart from that, we take positions in currency and commodities. But like I repeated many times, we are a proprietary hedge fund. By proprietary, I mean we do not take the third party capital. So you are a venture capitalist, you are a private equity, probably you are a venture debt, or maybe any other financial institution, hedge fund, or a bank. You cannot invest the capital in our fund. This is strictly prohibited. And Treasury Consulting would continue to follow the same philosophy. Rather, our fund is 100% profitable. And more importantly, we do take positions in many asset classes. Having said that, God is kind, we would continue to add more asset classes in the near future, but we never share our research in public. So, Axis Mutual Fund scandal erupted around 2 weeks ago, when all of a sudden, I would say, internet is full of the articles that something big had happened in Axis Mutual Fund. Few articles on the internet did claim that Axis Mutual Fund did front running of not less than 1,000 crores. While there were other articles who claimed it is around 200 to 300 crores. But I can't comment on the figure because until otherwise it is confirmed. So no comments. But common sense. I always believe in common sense. Common sense, since I am an ex-corporate treasurer and today also I am dealing with many mutual funds. I believe that the front-running scandal cannot be 100 crores or 200 crores because for a mutual fund like Axis, it has to be very big. But yes, I'm waiting for the figure to come public and then I'll have another video. But anyways, this video is not all about whether this is 100 crores, 200 crores or 1000 crores. Time will tell. Before this Franklin mutual funds, there were many scandals in mutual fund industry, just like the bigger one, if I recall very recently, is the Franklin Templeton scandal. In the Franklin Templeton scandal, the amount was near about 25,000 crores. When abruptly, I would say abruptly, 6 schemes were shut down, and which froze the investor wealth of not less than 25,000 crores. Nothing happened, just a small meager fine. But the biggest question is intact, which is, even in the case of Axis Mutual Fund, number one, the role of regulator. Why don't regulator was aware about what the hell is happening in the Franklin Mutual Fund and also in the Axis Mutual Fund? Whenever these scandals happen, a committee is being formed. This committee submits the report after a long period of time. Few fund managers being sacked for the sake of formality. Their career is over. But the big guns like the CEO, Chief Executive Officer, CFO, Chief Financial Officer, CRO, Chief Risk Officer, ALCO, Asset and Liability Committee, or Risk Committee, and the board members scot-free. Even in the case of Axis Mutual Fund, 2 fund managers are sacked. And the beauty is Axis Mutual Fund not accepted the front running. Rather, the more beauty is the media covered this scandal. Now, if you look at Google, if you look at internet, if you look at the Indian business media, they clearly not talking about this. They are very clear that they will not going to cover. They are not going to cover the Axis Mutual Fund scandal. Because front running is one of the biggest scams that is happening in the world of mutual funds. Not only in the mutual funds, but also on the media daily. Example. Without quoting any specific TV channel, many business channels have many same set of speakers. They came daily and they say, example, I'm quoting example, buy TCS. And people start buying TCS. Do you know whether this person who is saying buy TCS, whether he is associated with a FII, foreign institutional investor? Whether he is associated with a fund house, or whether he is holding his own positions while giving a call on the media? So a TV channel, somebody coming saying buy, and millions of people started buying. It inflated the price. There are, I would say, I have seen many social platforms where millions of people are following one person. And if this person gives buy, people start buying. And I always look, what the hell is happening? So if you are thinking that front running is only happening in mutual funds, then we are number one idiot of the globe. Number one idiot of the globe. But the biggest question remains intact. Why did the CEO, CFO, CRO, internal auditors, and board members of Axis Mutual Fund not stepped down? That is the biggest question. Why did only 2 fund managers sacked? Whether they did that or they not did that, time will tell. But why did only 2 people sacked and the rest I mentioned, they are scot-free? Is the CEO, Chief Executive Officer of a fund house, responsibility is only to come on the TV channel in a suit, tie, clean shave and get the PR? Or get the conference invitations and act like a speaker? If in your house, basically I would say your mutual fund, a scandal is happening, don't you have any responsibility? What about the CFO, Chief Financial Officer? What is the responsibility of a Chief Financial Officer of a mutual fund? Is only sacking 2 employees and your job is done? What kind of precedent are we setting in the system? What kind of precedent are we setting up in the system? That if you are sitting at top, you can do anything. Because you have the power to cut the people who are down. And you enjoy your BMW, air-conditioned room, your PR, your interviews and all, nothing would happen. In case of the Franklin Templeton Mutual Fund case, the same was the scenario. Then if the same is the scenario, then it would be better the balance sheets of the mutual fund, the annual report, other words, should not be signed by CEO, should not be signed by CFO, or should not be signed by statutory auditors. Rather, no internal audit should be performed on the mutual funds. Let the balance sheets be signed by the fund managers. Because if fund managers are supposed to be acts, then better they should sign the balance sheet. Then what is the need of CEO, CFO and all these people? What is the need? Just think about that, the kind of precedent we are setting. Guys, I am a person from banking. I dealt with almost all banks, and even today I am dealing with banks. I know that you people see banking as a very rosy thing. Everything is ethical, everything is as per the law, standards, policy, procedures, governance rules and everything. But on the contrary, the banking is completely opposite. Completely opposite. Yes Bank, Diwan Housing, Infrastructure Leasing, PMC Bank, Axis Fund Mutual Fund Scandal, Franklin Templeton Mutual Fund Scandal, Yes Bank 81 issue, and huge list. Let me tell you, huge list. It's an example that what you see in the banking is not a reality. And that's the reason my LinkedIn profile is always viewed by the people, those who are in the banking and those who are, I would say the auditors and all these, because they knew that whatever this person is saying is correct. But we cannot say this in public. So in case of Axis Mutual Fund, to conclude, CEO, CFO, board members, internal auditor and external auditor, statutory auditors, they have no role to play. The only role to play was two fund managers. Henceforth, they asked to step down, probably X, and rest all enjoying their air-conditioned room. This is the mutual fund industry of India. And Mahendra Singh Dhoni, Sachin Tendulkar, Rohit Sharma, and many celebrities are coming in public domain and saying openly, mutual fund sahi hai. Of course, mutual fund sahi hai, because even Sachin Tendulkar do not know what is the difference between hybrid and thematic mutual fund. This is called Indian mutual fund circus. When without knowing B of banking, Sachin Tendulkar, Rohit Sharma, Mahendra Singh Dhoni and many other personalities coming in public domain and saying mutual fund sahi hai, and millions of people investing in these funds, and end result, these funds invest the money in loss-making startups without any fear that anything to happen, because they knew that complete system is compromised. This is Rahul Magan from Treasury Consulting Group. You knew my number, 9899242978. 9899242978. Thank you.